The meeting was called to order. You got one of them. Go ahead.
Okay, Barb Jones.
Yep, here we go.
Faye. Here. Chris.
Yeah.
Beth.
Here.
Sheree.
Here.
John.
Present.
Jane.
Yeah.
We're missing Michael right now.
Did we hear anything that he was coming
I have
up?
not heard anything, but I don't know, sometimes he communicates with Celeste, so I don't know for sure.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. Are there any members desiring to remove anything from the agenda? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye, thank you. Do we have any public? It doesn't look like it. Unless you want to call yourself public. Presentations. Do we have a presentation tonight?
We do not.
We have none?
We do not.
Oh, we're going to get down in time. Barbara Jones is going to give us, I guess Barbara, maybe Jane is part of it too, right? Update. Amanda's not here.
Sure, it will be short, Chris. Unless you,
No, go ahead, I was.
did you want me to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I missed the breakfast and I eagerly await what happened at the breakfast. I really apologize. Memorial Day week, I got my Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays all mixed up. So I apologize.
An Apple Watch.
Oh, I know. I should get an Apple Watch. We had a presentation at Rotary today. It does everything. It might get me places sometimes. So I eagerly await hearing how that went. I hear it was really successful and a lot of input and a lot of people. I've been reading a really good book called Palaces for the People. I'm increasingly, and I loved what Amanda gave us to read last week. I was really excited about the direction those readings took about the library as a space for people to learn and interact, not just check out a book and give it to the person, but to interact. And so I eagerly await too, I believe it's next week. We have a discussion about the results. 1,200 surveys were returned.
Yeah.
That's fabulous, I think. I mean, it's fabulous. So I eagerly await so I don't have anything else to
Do you
say.
have any recollection or have seen any of those? What kind of things are people saying? Good and bad?
I am, so there's a person who's going through all the results
Yeah.
and they're pulling together data from the community, the results from the surveys, the results from the focus groups, and putting together in this learning report. And then what we'll be doing is looking at all of that at the same time. I believe there's been a couple of changes to dates because some of the responses that were open-ended have 500 responses to some of the questions. And so when you get that many free text things, it takes the person who's analyzing it time to code it appropriately. So we had to move our timeline around to make sure she had time to do that. So the community advocates for the outside group of community members, plus the process team, are going to be looking at things, I believe, in parallel. We will bring you a draft learning report, I believe, next month. And then we'll take all the feedback and put it together so that we can then bring you a final learning report. But there's just a lot of data to look at. What I saw was that I want to say it was 95% of people were either satisfied or very satisfied with the library. Are you satisfied with the library question?
Yeah.
So that was really wonderful to hear.
That's really.
To see.
I think for the sake of your
be shocked.
staff, our timeline is not sacred. We're working on it, I feel. And so if it gets moved down a little, I don't think there's anything
Okay.
too drastic.
Thank you.
I don't know that the rest of the board would feel that way, but
I certainly do, yeah.
my big push was we get it started because it's been too long since we
Yeah,
had said we
it sounds
would.
wonderful. I mean, not surprised, but still.
Yeah, so we're very pleased with what we've seen. Some things are, as you know, we developed this survey so that some questions were informational. So if people didn't know we had a service, they learned about it. So people commented, I didn't know you had blah, 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 or I love the Teen Open Lab, or things that we already do that they don't know. So it would be great if you work with the township on their community garden across the street. It's our land that we are working with them to provide a garden.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
all the
That's-
things you expected that you would see, that range, we see that in there. But many positive comments, great ideas, and so again, I think you're going to be pleased. But Jane was saying the file is so big, she couldn't unzip the file, so.
Ah.
It's a big file, it's a lot of reading, so.
I think the remark that I've heard is people saying, I didn't know we had that service.
Great, we wanted
I've
them to
heard that
learn.
kind of thing.
I marked that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yes, no, it's
I
really.
was like, really, they have this? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an update. Action items, consent agenda.
So now is everything you want to remove?
Is that removed in that one too, or is it both of them?
It's just this one.
Just this one? I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Okay. Is there anything, item from the action consent agenda that we need to have removed? If not, and I don't see anything that could possibly be removed from that.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, action items. Design of non-resident card fees. Oh, this is at the beginning of our, we see it once and we can vote on it, and this is one of those that needed to be, so we've done something right this year.
Got a lot of things right, but yes, this is a good addition.
Yeah, it is. Oh. People have it in front of them.
Is this the non-resident?
Non-resident
Yes.
cards that we charge according to the tax, what it would, the property would have been, and that's what we're basically approving. And that's the way we've been operating for years.
But yeah, I don't have any problem with this at all. I just wonder, what is IHLS?
Illinois Heartland Library System.
Okay, so Heartland, and how much do we charge? I wasn't sure from this. Okay, the average charge is, so if you're not a resident, it's about 6606?
That's the average charge across the entire system. So every library in IHL
Okay.
responds to their survey.
Okay.
They average those all together and it's 66, but we're, we have the tax bill. But you can see there that if we use the mathematical formula, it would be significantly higher than that.
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
But there's a
So
lot of
we can
small
always
libraries
choose,
and
yeah.
a lot of,
Okay.
in the state that bring it down.
Okay.
I have a question, because when you're talking about the mathematical thing, so is that, because it said, according to section, whatever, Illinois Administrative Code, the minimum non-resident fee would be $165.30. So are we talking about making it $165.30 and putting it on to the property tax bill? Okay, we're just talking about keeping it as we do it now, which is, I don't know.
Right. If we were to change it, that would be the minimum we could charge. If we were going to charge everyone a flat rate, it would
Okay.
be a minimum of 165 and change whatever it was in the minimum. But because we use the tax bill, it's based on the value of the property.
Got it.
Not yet.
And for example,
Okay.
like, since I've worked here, if people live in, say, one of the trailer parks, it's a flat $25.
Oh, okay.
But if we did the mathematical formula, we would have to charge even those people who are used to paying $25,
160,
165.
yeah, which would
So
probably
it-
keep them from
right.
coming to the
It's-
library.
It's much more equitable. to-
Yeah.
Right.
On the property tax.
Okay.
I'm sorry, on the property value.
And then my main question too, because I know, Champaign has a library, and a lot of little places do have libraries. Savoy has a library. So, is our main draw for non-residents the archives?
No.
Or,
So the non-residents applies to people who don't live in a library taxing district.
okay.
So people who live in Champaign actually are required to get a Champaign card.
Mm-hmm,
This is for people who live outside of the tax district. So the people, for example, who live in the trailer parks,
mm-hmm,
they don't pay Urbana taxes.
right.
So if they want a card, they have to get it through us because of where they live, and then we have to charge, you, the board, have to pick how we're gonna charge people once a year.
Or-
This is the designation.
Okay, or somebody like lives in Scottswood because they're not in Urbana.
Yeah, Yard subdivision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
so they're considered non-residents.
Exactly.
Okay.
Down in the taxing district.
Does
That helps.
Champaign use the same,
I was going to ask that too.
I
Champaign does it?
don't know how Champaign does
I
it.
think they do, but I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
And the kids in the trailer parks get a card, right, through the school system?
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up. So we do have that
Agreement.
mutual agreement with the school
It's
board.
wonderful, I think. Yeah.
So that students who are at the Urbana School District that qualify for free and reduced lunch, or a fee waiver, that's the phrase that we use.
Mhm.
If they qualify for a fee waiver, they do get a free card that they can use to support their education.
Okay, and the other, just that quickly, I had a senior moment, and I forgot what I was going to say. Okay. And that's
Out
on
of
tape.
curiosity, about how many non-resident cards are issued on an annual basis?
Well, it fluctuates because it's, a resident card is for 3 years.
For 3 years,
So
okay.
But non-resident is 1 year.
Okay.
So it's just because it has to get recalculated every year with the
Right.
tax bill.
Oh, I
I
know.
would say between 300 and 400.
Mm.
at any given
Many.
time.
More than
Significant.
Yeah, so how do we go about, how do they go about billing the 6606?
No, the 6606 is the average for all of the libraries in the southern half of the state. 66 really has not, it was just to give you a point of reference.
Okay, so how do they go about charging the non-resident fee, whatever that is?
Why don't you,
And how do we do it?
could you just
Yeah.
explain the practical, or the, logistically, if someone comes in?
I mean, does somebody come in and you write a
Tax bill.
check,
Here I
or?
request from the assessor a list of all the non-resident addresses that are in Summer Township or Urbana Township, because of course Cunningham Township is within the taxing district.
Mhm.
So they send me a report with all of those addresses, and also the tax rate, or
They said-
taxing value after exemptions.
Mhm.
And so we take that and then it's, multiply it. And is it 15?
Well, by the library, it's by the library, what would you call it? Assessment. It's not an assessment.
But it's a
But you
percentage
multiply it
of
by
that.
that, yeah.
It's a percentage of that. You know, like based on, so it's like if your property is worth between, like, say, after exemptions, say between 50,000 and 59,000, this is the charge.
Yeah.
And it's just a big Excel spreadsheet.
And it's is itemized, I guess what I'm asking, is it itemized on people's tax bills or something?
They don't get a tax bill because they're in a non.
Oh, okay.
So what we're doing is,
But the assessor
But they're
has got a
Champaign
value
County.
for the property or the value for that address.
Okay.
we have a formula, tell me if I'm wrong, so we have a formula that we use to determine how much they pay, and it's based on the value of their real estate.
Uh-huh.
And we plug that in, the assessed value less exemptions, and then we multiply it by the percentage to try to approximate what it would be if they were in the district. And that's how we charge.
It's a tax substitute fee. It's basically, if
make up for
these
it.
people lived in the taxing district, this is what would appear on their taxing bill. on
Okay.
their tax
What-
bill.
what-
They pay directly to the library.
Exactly.
What if,
It's optional.
what if they're in an apartment?
That's what I was going to
It's
ask.
15% of the total rent for the apartment.
Okay.
So if it's, you know, it would be 15, if it's $1,000 a month, 15% of that is, and everyone who lives in that apartment at that point gets to have a card. It's not like if you have 4 roommates,
It's everybody at that address.
everybody at that address, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hour of service, policy 3A. You have before you the hours.
That was just really just almost housekeeping changes there. It was just simply,
It's- The word library is capitalized one place, I think that's about it.
it's kind of formatting and reaffirmed, yeah.
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 So it was a review, you know, just as we need to review these.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
So-
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I think you on that one. Counseling policy. This basically is removal, of a lot of procedural activities, but it doesn't change anything in terms of the steps that a person must follow for disciplinary action, I guess I should say. Is it always disciplinary? Not
I would say more
necessarily.
coaching.
Okay,
Yeah, let's
because that is
just
the
change that
intention. We
word.
want people to succeed.
yeah.
I have is this what we used to call progressive discipline? I hate
Based
sound
on
like a
that,
geezer,
yes.
but yeah, okay. So you don't have a separate policy for progressive yeah, thank you, that's,
So why is this being removed?
It's procedural, and we have removed procedural
It's right.
things from the
From
policies.
policy.
I mean, how you do it is up to the director and her staff. And so we've removed that from all this. This is so much plainer and shorter.
You have a separate document.
you have separate.
Yes.
There's a procedure
So-
manual.
So this was
Okay.
taken out and is the procedure.
Yes.
Okay,
Policy is approved at the board level and can only be changed by the board. Procedure is handled at the staff level, as they were saying.
okay.
Nice questions. I'm glad you were asking.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the only thing that occurred to me, a lot of words are coming out. Are any protections for staff now weaker than they, would be weaker than they used to be?
No.
So this is basically just going to be moved to the procedure manual?
Yes.
Verbatim.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you on that one. The closing policy, emergency closing. Again, we've had the policy, this is just a revision that's required every 3 years. Any questions?
Move approval.
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you on that one. Equal employment opportunities. Policy
We added
4, 5,
sexual
6,
orientation.
N.
Right.
Any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, expanded, looks good.
Move.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the systems program for ILNET.
What is
This
this?
was June 30th. Is this comparable to last year's?
It's within a couple $100.
A couple $100. But we kind of expect it to keep,
Yes.
okay.
Can somebody give me a definition of what Illinois OCLT means?
Good question.
OCLC is the system by which we share information about our catalog records that you look at in the system
Okay,
across the country and across the world.
okay, so it's a catalog
Yeah.
software.
Yes. And it allows us to share our data
Okay, and it's,
and to do interlibrary loan.
and I guess it's in the Heartland, the Heartland peoples who were paying, or they're the ones that distribute it, or? I
They
mean-
go through the state for us so that we get a good deal. So since all the libraries are going together in on it, we get a better price. And they negotiate all that, so we don't all have to have independent negotiations with OCLC, the company that runs it.
Okay. Okay. I
And
just,
I've got the full agreement, multi-page up pieces and parts if anyone wants to see it.
okay, so the fee is up from what? What was
A
it?
couple hundred, you thought, so maybe.
Couple hundred?
14,300 or something?
I think it was 14,1 and almost 14,2.
Okay.
14,2.
14,1, 14,100 or something,
Okay.
I think. I remember being really pleased, like, oh, that's not that much.
When you said across the country, this is our agreement with the state library,
Correct.
but it really makes it our catalog available across the country.
Correct. So when people want to do an interlibrary loan, they find our materials here. And when we get a new item that maybe Champaign doesn't own, we look here to get an item, to get a record that we pull in to start with. So we use this in a number of ways.
Okay, so when you get like new books and DVDs and so on, somebody upstairs inputs it and then it goes into the Illinois OCLC.
Right, yes. Parts, pieces and parts.
Okay.
And I can't resist this, but when I started being a librarian, they didn't have OCLC and we typed cards.
Yeah. I remember when I worked at Champaign Public Library, we typed cards.
OCLC saved us all.
Save us all. A
Yeah.
motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the last item in this is the list of, thank you for the motion, passing. List of the scheduled monthly meetings. You have a list of those. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? All those in
Second.
favor, yeah. I agree.
Okay,
James did.
James made that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I will not be here next month. I don't know how you do that. but
Just
This is
tell
fine.
us.
I'll be across the pond.
As long as there's not there's a quorum. If there's,
I don't think there is.
oh, there's, getting going. Anybody else want to? No.
I'm just kidding.
I see no items. Have we voted?
No.
You haven't voted yet.
All those in
I thought we
favor,
did.
please say aye.
Aye. You
Opposed,
said
same
it twice.
I think we did.
Losing track.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
It's a-
Discussion
it's a
items,
double
I
vote.
see
It's
nothing. Do
really-
you know of anything, Celeste, that we should have put in?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Friends of the Library, who is...
Normally it would be Barbara, but she is
Oh,
stepped
she
away.
had-
But there isn't anything occurring with the Friends yet, except that they did, that the teens are using the closet that the Friends vacated for the recording studio. They're going to have one of their former students, actually, who's now employed at the county, is an IT person, using skills he learned here at the Teen Open Lab.
How cool is that?
Which is pretty, I talked to this gentleman today with Joel, and he is super excited about his new full-time job. He's taking paid vacation for the first time. It's really great. He said he learned, again, some of the skills he's using there, but working here. And he's gonna help them set up the recording studio in the closet that the Friends have vacated. And their book sale's coming up in August, the weekend of the Sweet Corn Festival,
Great.
starting Thursday night.
Good.
The next item is the Library Foundation. Board meeting is next week, so we don't have anything new. I will give you a little bit of what I had to say at their event, but I'm back in my board president's report. Heartland is Rachel.
Give that
Yeah.
child some candy.
Business continues as normal, and the
Must be an
fiscal year,
answer.
of course, for them,
You know,
started a new
yeah.
fiscal year.
I
Their new
never
board
could.
members were sworn in, and recently there were multiple directors from the Illinois Heartland Library System, so the southern part of Illinois, present at Directors University, which is supported by IHLS and the State Library. So good representation from Southern Illinois at Directors University.
Is there anybody from Champaign on it this time? Do you know? Remember?
On the Illinois Heartland Library System board,
Yeah.
not at this time.
Because we've been on that board for years. Charlie Smythe, I think, was one of our first ones that on that board. So. Been there since. Okay. You see an item here that talks about nominating committee. Last month, it was not on the agenda. I missed it, staff missed it. I called, reconvened the meeting, and it wasn't on the agenda, so it couldn't happen. So at this time, I'd like for the nominating committee to report. Jane?
Okay, Chris we had for president, Chris Scheid for VP, and Barb Bennett for secretary treasurer, and Barbara Jones for secretary pro tem.
I don't think we have to accept the motion to accept it. It's a committee report, isn't it?
It's a committee report.
Yeah, I think that's all. Okay, so it will be a month late in elections because it won't be till next meeting, but we got accomplished. Administrative report. Celeste?
I have no additional reports.
She's running for something.
It's a good report.
Yeah,
There's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening.
a lot happening. I had a couple just really
Yeah, go ahead.
positive comments. Is this the time? Okay.
Sure.
One is a reminder that Lynn Thomas, I'm talking about the FanCon. And we have a Hugo Award winner in town who's won 11 Hugos, I think, and I just wondered if she might, I'm just suggesting if she might be a good person to pull into FanCon. That's it. And just, I'm really glad that the I would be curious about what happened at the teen-only focus group, if anybody knows yet.
You will know as sooner than anyone else, actually.
Okay, okay.
I don't know that I have that yet.
Okay, just curious. I'm glad you had a teen focus group, is basically it.
Any other questions about the report? Okay, a couple things. I'll give you a rundown. I think I will. Thought I had it close. We had the first event of our thank you for donors. And I would have to say that for a first-time event, I think we had decent. It was held on a night in which there was, or an evening, in which there were 2 other philanthropic organizations meeting, and so attendance was not great. I think 40 donors would be pushing it. It says 50, but I think staff and other people, staff and committee members probably made up that. But I gave a little thank you, and I thought it would be appropriate. I'd ask a couple board members if they'd like to hear it. Back in the 1950s, many of you may remember, there was a song called Love and Marriage. You surely have shown your love. Of course, I'm talking to donors here for the Urbana Library.
Yeah.
And many of you have shown your continued commitment to that marriage. Let me tell you a bit about what you have committed to. Today, our assessment valuation is $8.85 million. Remembering when we were told in 2000 we could only raise $1 million for our expansion, we raised $2 million. With an annual operating budget of $4.1 million. In addition to our property assets, you might like to know a few things about. Our collection is 378,000 items. Circulation, over 800,000 circulations. Programs, over 700 last year with attendance of over 28,000. Where does the money come from? Our property taxes are $3.24 million. State per capita, 51,000. Local grants, 45,000. City contributions, 166. That won't always be, but that was what the last figure was. Other fees, investments, and such, 333,000. Donations from people like you, 300,000. How do we spend this money? Salaries count for, and we have 50 to 55 FTEs at any one time, about $2 million of our budget, so almost half. Collections, including for buying of collections, books, databases, periodicals, $450,000. Maintenance, about $450,000. This year we've had, the last couple of years, pretty high numbers there. Operations, about $1 million, and that includes all kinds of things in the operation. The city budget for 18-19 was cut, we were cut $55,000. We expect to be cut this year. We budgeted for $59,000. And if that trend continues, it would be 63 the following year, which could be $177,000 that we've taken in 3 years' time. So we're getting in real money now. But thanks to our volunteers and you, 3,000 hours at $26.89, which is a figure that's used by the U.S. Census Bureau?
Department of Labor, probably.
Yeah. They figure in Illinois, it's different in every state, $26.89. That's over $80,000 we have gotten from donations of time. Foundation support, $300,000. Our strengths are many, among which, I think, at least, the archives of this county. People don't know that we've got archives, but I looked at them today, and I mean to tell you, they've been cleaned up since the last time I was in that box. So. Children's programming, such as the Fairy Tale Ball, and that, of course, is an individual who helps to supply that. Our teen lab has been, I think, a very successful model that is being copied other places. And an amazing staff who from time to time appear on state and national professional programs and to teach the U of I School of Library Science. Are there any people teaching this year? Anka's still good, okay. Our future. As you know, we are currently in the process of laying out our strategic plan. Some of the things that I can see, and I was telling these people that have given us money, building expansion, I think, is close at hand. Involving young people in our governance boards and committees. More programming, especially for teens. Creating ways for you to contribute and fulfill wish list. And establish collaborative programs and events. And I think we've all been talking this for a long time. It's happening. But I think we're going to have to put, hopefully, that the strategic plan will say we're going to put more effort in that way. But with the finances as they are, we are counting on you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your past support, and may we continue to have a happy marriage.
Did you sing the song?
No, but I'm sure you all remember where you did it. I was in junior high and we learned that in chorus. you know.
I was watching Married with
It was the
Children.
opening, it was the opening of Married with
Yeah,
Children.
right.
So,
I just wanted to add that Celeste is being far too modest. I'm told at the library school, she has made herself available. You may not be teaching a whole course, but she makes herself available. They love it that she will go over there and do a class or what have you.
A real live librarian.
A real life librarian, like the one I hear about a lot is after the controversy over those programs.
And Rachel came
And
and presented with me.
really positive from over at the high school.
Thank you.
Is there any item of unfinished business that anybody has about?
Next month's closed meeting, the survey I'm going to send out, and Celeste Bell is ready.
Oh,
Yeah, Southie Bell.
do you want to tell us about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we're at the time where we're ready. I've got Celeste finished her self-evaluation. As we talked before, I want to send that out to everybody, and then that will quickly be followed by the annual survey. And there'll be a survey that goes out to the staff, a survey that goes out to the board members. And generally, the people on the board who fill out the survey are those who've served for almost the full year, because this is last year's evaluation period. So Sharice and Lupe, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for you to evaluate staff, but and Celeste for
that's cool
last
with
year.
me.
And so we will be ready to discuss this for those who are here at next month's board meeting.
So we could actually take a day off. Okay.
So I encourage the rest of you, since the two members are fairly new, to please return it promptly.
Right.
And so we can tally.
And I will be sending them out in your official library email.
How soon?
Probably, since I'm just getting the evaluation, it'll be no later than Friday. With luck, it'll be,
Need to remember to check your email.
right. Yes, please remember, to check your email. With luck, it'll be out by Thursday. So, we usually like having the surveys out at least 2 weeks, and you'll have at least 2 weeks in some of this stuff.
Do you have our alternate emails where you can send us a little thing saying?
Actually, Michael, I did not, and we discussed
say
in the
that.
meeting, for the official business, it really needs.
No, I know,
Right.
but can there be something that says, please check your library email?
I'm going to be the bad manager now and saying, all right, we're all responsible adults, and you
But
should.
that's not a true statement.
You should, okay. But, so, this is just for me personally, what's in our library email, the board packets, I check, at least once a week, many times more, because there's lots of times good information coming from Celeste or her administrators, and it's kind of timely, and you want to be checking that at least on a weekly. It's a habit. You know those Apple Watches or those little reminders?
I'll tell my
Right, yeah, use the technology and say ding.
Put it on the Apple Watch, but ding,
Right?
check in.
Yeah, just put it in your little.
It's hard to get mine too.
I mean, never mind.
It's my fault, not theirs.
Right.
Everything. Is there any other new business that anybody knows about? We're having a record meeting.
Salute.
I just got through telling my mother we never leave before 9.
Meeting.
Hey, so you can go, you got an hour and a half.
All right.
I can check out some
Don't tell
DVDs.
anyone, exactly.
You're on TV. Mom's watching right now, by the way.
No, she's not. She's watching
Does the
Minority Report.
videographer get paid by the hour?
No, I do not. I just get paid.
Okay.
Hey,
So don't tell me you're done.
he's buying drinks.
Found time. No, that's great.
Thank you,
That's it?
Mr. President.
Thank you.
All righty then.
Nice speech. All right.
Yes, good speech. Good speech, Chris.
Did you adjourn?
Well, I think that they,
Oh, yeah, do we adjourn?
Did we adjourn?
the one thing I would say,
We didn't adjourn.
the group